name is Charlie, and I did not vlog last week. I went on holiday to Whitby on Monday, and I had huge plans. And as you know, I said how every VICTOBER I vlog each and every week. And you will have seen all of the clips I recorded on my holiday to Whitby. I was speaking with Charlie, and she was asking me if I had actually figured out which book I was going to take with me, because I was thinking of all the Victorian novels that I said I was going to read this month. And I had settled on Fairytale by Stephen King, because that's a book that I had wanted to read this October. It's about a boy called Charlie. He has well, he doesn't have a dog, but there's a dog present within the story. And apparently there's some aspect of the portal fantasy about this one. And so I took that with me. And then on Monday, when I was just about to leave, I thought, don't just take that. So I took 3 Men in a Boat and New Grub Street, thinking that at least we've got some Victorian literature there so that we don't feel like we are avoiding VICTOBER. And it's 2.5 hours to get to Whitby. And so we ended up arriving at 2 o'clock on Monday. We weren't allowed to go into the property we were staying until 4, so what did we do immediately? We took Sally for a walk on the beach, and I tell you, when that little dog's paws met the beach, well, met the sand, she went wild. I like to think that she enjoyed herself. The tide was coming in at that point, so we couldn't stay on it for a very long while, but we walked a certain distance and then disappeared off to a pub. And I am very happy to say that over the week, because at first Sally wasn't that good with going into places because she's not really visited anywhere before apart from Tegsnow's tea room when the sister and I took her once. Over the week, going into certain places that allowed dogs, she did begin to settle down, and she would just sit at our feet and remain calm unless there were other dogs in the place, in which she was fine with a Labrador and a Shih Tzu who were in one place on Friday, but I'll get to that in a minute. We got to the place we're staying at 4, and we'd already decided that we were going to be doing cheese and biscuits for tea with some sandwiches we'd bought with us because we couldn't be bothered finding somewhere and ordering in and going through that rigmarole. Did we actually do anything? No. On Monday night, I didn't sit down to read. Alongside those 3 books that I'd taken, I'd also borrowed a stack of cozy crime novels from the charity shop for my mum to be able to read, The Dinner Ladies Detectives and some others. And they just sat on a shelf the entire time we were there. On the Tuesday, being the first full day that we're in Whitby, it begins as most days in Whitby. Well, firstly, I didn't sleep. I could not sleep in the bed that I had chosen. It was a double bed, and my mother always says, because I'm the one paying, I can have the double and she'll go in a single. So she went off to this little loft room, like the mad woman in the attic, and I was on this double bed that was extremely warm and for whatever reason was wet. And we didn't know whether there was a bit of a damp issue in the house, but we started keeping the heating on low in the hopes that it would, like, I don't know, get rid of this damp issue. So I didn't sleep on the Monday night. Tuesday, we were feeling glad that we were no longer set to the timetable of a bed and breakfast or a hotel where you have to have breakfast by a certain time. And so I made us fake bacon sandwiches. And this was another thing for a holiday. I don't tend to eat until the afternoon nowadays, as I strive to try and keep weight off. So we had breakfast, and then we took Sally for another walk on the beach, and this time we were able to just meander for a rather lengthy time and enjoyed ourselves. We had mostly great weather the entire week. And as I'm walking, I'm thinking, well, we'll do this, we'll go across the bridge into the other part of the town, and we'll go around the shops, and then we'll return to the cottage and I will read for the afternoon. We went across to the Whitby bookshop, and whilst there my mum said that she needed a drink and a sit down. As you'll see, she ended up on crutches by the end of the week. She took Sally off to this little cafe, and me not wanting to, well, actually it's just because I know Sally doesn't like when the group gets separated. She has a bit of a pack mentality. And so, having not really found anything on this first day, I decided, well, one book that I'll show you in a book haul and discuss them. But I went to this cafe and saw that they'd given Sally a plate of sausage for free, and we enjoyed a coffee, and then we went back, and I didn't read we watched films and I started the Agatha Christie jigsaw that I'd taken with me. So the film we'd watched on the first night was Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Second night, we did The Haunted Mansion, the new one, and Strange World. We get to Wednesday. Now on Wednesday is when my mum's legs started feeling worse and she couldn't really handle anything more than the walk along the beach. And I said, that's fine, I want to read anyway. And I didn't read. I continued to do the jigsaw so much that I got cramp in my legs, and I paid for us to watch Sarah Millican's latest special that's available on her website, and then a Victoria Wood special as well, and then we switched over to some of these great Christmas movies that are all made by the Hallmark Channel and usually strive to annoy me. Which brings us to Thursday, which is our last full day in Whitby because we're coming back on Friday. And I should say that in this time I have read about 30 pages of Three Men in a Boat because I did record a clip on Wednesday that won't see the light of day, in which I was talking about how I was about 10 minutes out of Whitby when I realised I had forgotten my toothbrush. And in this book, they're all about set out and realise that they usually tend to forget a toothbrush, and it becomes this universal thing. And I was like, okay, I can see where some people say that the humour within Three Men in a Boat still stands the test of time. Some of it doesn't. I'm now 80 pages in, having read another 30 yesterday, and some of it is a bit misogynistic and talking about how, I don't want to get into it, but it annoyed me, and there was the mildest bit of racism, and I understand that these things were prevalent at the time, and I can't judge this book by today's standards. I get that, I just like to make people aware that they are there. So Thursday comes around. Thursday, I've walked past the pavilion so many times, and because it's been 100 years of Disney, they've been doing these showings for £1 of classic Disney movies, and I'd wanted to watch 101 Dalmatians. And so whilst we were completing this jigsaw, because we didn't want to come back home, and we had to be out of this place by 10 o'clock on Friday. We didn't want to come home having not completed this jigsaw. We knuckled down, I put some films on, so we watched See How They Run, which I'd already seen this year, but my mum hadn't. And not being funny, but she solved that mystery as soon as a certain person walked on the screen. Then we watched 101 Dalmatians, and then we watched a film that neither of us had seen before, which was Atlantis: The Lost Empire, and it appealed to both of our sensibilities, and I know that people have enthused about that one for years. So we get to Friday. Now, Friday, I am now knackered. I'll say we completed that jigsaw at 1 o'clock Friday morning and had to leave the place at 10 o'clock on Friday morning. So I didn't sleep at all that night. Eventually got out of bed at 6:15 because, as I've told you, I could not sleep in this bed. Went, made tea, decided we were going to finish off some food. I'd offered to buy my mother breakfast, but I wasn't doing that because I just wanted to not have so many bags coming back. I will say, on the Thursday, I did visit the Whitby bookshop again. And I bought books. And I visited them on the Friday. And I bought books. And my mum said, well, you've not bought that many new books this year, which is true. But I still have about 350 left that I haven't read. Then we get to Friday. So on Friday, I bought these books and we've walked along the beach. We've packed the car, we've parked somewhere and paid £6 to park for the day. And we just want a drink. So we go back to the cafe that we couldn't go to on Thursday. And that's because it was closed on Thursday. On the Friday, still closed. So my mum, out of the blue, just sees this sign that says there's a bistro down this ginnel. And it says Dogs Welcome. And we go there, not knowing that it's 5 to 12, and they say, you're here for lunch. And I say, we don't know yet. They brought the menu. It said poached eggs and spiced avocado. They called it bruschetta. It was just tough toast. And they brought it. And I tell you, I am going to be enthusing about those poached eggs for the rest of my life. I have never known poached eggs like it. If that is how they are supposed to be, then I have been having them incorrectly for 31 years. These were fantastic poached eggs. My mother's upset because I said they were the best I've ever had. And she said, I've never made them like that. I said, no, you haven't. you know, I don't hold it against you, but these will stand up to be the best poached eggs that I have ever had. I don't know how to describe the texture. I don't know how to say anything without upsetting a vegan nowadays, but this was a fantastic just meal, and the latte wasn't bad either, and I told them how fantastic it was. And we took Sally for another walk along the beach after we got some treats for people back home. Bought my sister 5 sticks of rock because she can't have chocolate, only to get home and my dad say she's got braces. So that was fun. We had one last hot chocolate, sat on a bench staring out across the water, and I was feeling terrible because of how much Sally has really enjoyed the beach and how it seems that she was just free running. Like every morning she would run down to the water and paddle in it, and you know, she hates water back here. She won't go out when it's raining, and she only started going in water because my sister's dog did. But I will say that this small cafe down the Ginnel is where she got a bit annoyed at another dog. She was fine with the Labrador who was already in there under somebody's table. She was fine with the Shih Tzu who was sat at somebody else's, but then the Shih Tzu left and another dog came and took its place, and she wasn't having that. She was not happy with whatever this dog was. It looked like some sort of cross between a German Shepherd and a mop. I don't know, but it wasn't looking good. And then we came home. I didn't read anything. I didn't sleep. When I got home, I slept for 10 hours on Friday night into Saturday, and I slept for 10 hours from Saturday into Sunday, getting up today at the ripe time of 7 o'clock, and I was thinking, I am on holiday still. I am technically still on holiday from work. Why couldn't I sleep? So I had a very early bath. I listened to some Lana Del Rey, and I decided that once I've recorded these videos, because I just want to do a haul after this, that I'm going to try and just read for the day. However, I'm probably not going to be reading Victorian literature this week, or if I do, it will be very spare, so I might not be giving you a VICTOBER vlog next week. But I haven't really given you a VICTOBER vlog this week, because I didn't read anything, apart from 80 pages of 3 Men in a Boat. And one thing I have been thinking is that if I'd known about the existence of this book before I wrote Our Doris, then I would have been saying how this had been within a similar vein, because in Our Doris, Harold meanders and goes off and tells these side stories and these tales that just connect very tenuously to what's being talked about. And Jerome does that a lot. And so yeah, I guess what I'm saying is, if you like 3 Men in a Boat, you might like my books. If you hate 3 Men in a Boat, you might like my books. Really, I'm just trying to ask people to buy my books because I mean, actually, I released a poetry collection 10 days ago. I mean, that was out of the blue, and then I went on holiday, and honestly, I was shocked at how many copies I actually ended up selling, given that there had been no promotion for it, no idea that it was coming out until the day it came out. So I am grateful for that. And if you want to support a budding poet who keeps getting rejected by poetry magazines, maybe because his poem is actually terrible, you could decide that for yourself. You could get my poetry collection and tear it to shreds, call it doggerel, and throw it at somebody. As long as I get the money, that's fine. But anyway, I'm going to go because frankly, I have nothing more to talk about. Went to Whitby, didn't read. I told you that at the start of this tale, so it doesn't really change. Didn't read, didn't sleep. But I did eat a scone. And I tell you, some good scones. Good scones. But let's not forget those poached eggs. My goodness, if you ever want a poached egg, a proper, oh my goodness, it was so nice. I can't remember what the place was called. But all I can tell you is it's down in Ginnel across from Monkshaven Cafe in Whitby. And that's about the measure of things. So, how's your VICTOBER going actually? Are you reading much Victorian literature? I'm not. How is your reading just going in general? So shall I just say that? What you're reading, what you're writing, what you're watching, what you're listening to? I hope that you got something out of this video, even if it was just something to scare the children. Because until next time, that is all.